Is it really worth divorcing me just over a house? 3 years into our marriage, Ethan's ex-girlfriend of 8 years suddenly posted a photo of a multi-million-dollar house on social media. The caption read, "Yay! Got my dream villa. I'm the queen of dating." I stared at the picture in shock. In it, Ethan was swiping his card at the sales office. I couldn't help but comment with a simple. Moments later, my phone rang. Ethan was on the other end, furious. I was just fulfilling a promise I made to her when we were dating. "Why are you attacking her?" he snapped. "What? Are you so malicious that you'd force me to break my word like some dishonorable man?" That evening, his ex, Vivian, posted again, this time flaunting a renovation bill worth hundreds of thousands. I knew it was another gift from Ethan to make her happy. But by then I didn't care anymore. When Ethan came home that night, I was taking paroxetine medication for depression. Ever since Vivian appeared in our lives, our suffocating marriage had turned me from a healthy individual into someone diagnosed with moderate depression. Ethan walked over, snatched the medication from my hand, and tossed it into the trash. "Every time I come home, you're popping pills. Can you stop acting so pitiful in front of me?" He pulled out a withered bouquet of flowers and tossed it onto the table in front of me. "These are from Vivi. She told me how you upset her. She's generous. She said if you apologize, she'll let it go." I stared at the half-wilted flowers. Beneath the faint scent of blossoms, there was a putrid smell of rotting stems. 3 days ago, Vivian had posted a picture of this bouquet with the caption, "Yay! Flowers and a man. A perfect afternoon." The painful memories surged back like a tidal wave. I picked up a fruit knife to peel an apple, hoping to distract myself. I don't want her things. They're filthy. Ethan's brows furrowed as irritation flashed across his face. "Why do you always act so self-righteous? She gave you a gift, didn't she? Apologizing won't kill you." I stayed silent. "Don't act all high and mighty. You were in the wrong first, and Vivi has already extended an olive branch." Ethan's patience snapped. He kicked the dining table with such force that it overturned, and I fell to the floor along with it. Unfortunately, the fruit knife slipped from my hand and stabbed into my palm. Blood gushed from the wound, staining my white t-shirt a vivid red. Pain coursed through me, leaving my body trembling uncontrollably. Ethan panicked. "I'll take you to the hospital," he muttered. Without protest, I followed him to the underground parking garage. As I climbed into the car, I noticed something strange. The passenger seat had been changed. It was now a brand new pink Hello Kitty seat cover. Ethan's car interior had always been monochrome black. Clearly, someone had requested this change recently. "You know I dated her for 8 years. Ethan said matter-of-factly, glancing at me. "I promised her back then that I'd fulfill all her requests. Changing the seat cover isn't a big deal." "What? You're not going to throw another tantrum, are you?" I bent down, buckled my seatbelt, and replied calmly, "No. I think pink is cute." Ethan shot me a surprised look. "You're not going to demand I change it back?" I pressed my lips together. In the past, every time Vivian left her mark on Ethan's life, I would remove it. Now I didn't care anymore. "Just drive." "My hand hurts," I said indifferently. 20 minutes later, as we neared the hospital, Ethan's phone rang. "What's wrong, Vivi?" On the other end, Vivian's voice trembled with tears. "Ethan, the villa is so big. I'm scared being here alone." "Don't be scared," Ethan said, his voice laden with concern. "Turn on the lights. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Ethan slammed on the accelerator. 3 minutes later, he screeched to a halt outside the hospital entrance. I curled up in the passenger seat, suddenly overwhelmed by somatic symptoms: shortness of breath, cold sweats, trembling hands, and dizziness. "Ethan," I called out weakly, "I feel awful. Can you help me inside? I can't walk." Ethan turned to me, his gaze filled with irritation. Stop pretending to be sick. Why is it that you're fine all day, but the moment Vivi calls, you're suddenly in pain? What, is she some kind of knife that stabs you every time? He opened the passenger door, yanked me out of the car, and drove off without a second thought. I crouched on the wet pavement, my body trembling uncontrollably from the symptoms. The heavy rain poured down, drenching me and soaking into the wound on my palm. The pain left me pale and curled into a ball, surrounded by the blur of passing cars. Fortunately, a kind passerby noticed something was wrong and helped me. Otherwise, I might not have made it through. Half an hour later, I finally stabilized, only to be hit with shocking news. Mrs. Tang, you're pregnant. Can I get an abortion now? It has to be during the day. After getting my wound stitched up, I returned home to change into dry clothes. Ethan arrived just as I lay down on the bed. He glanced at me and kicked the chair beside him in annoyance. Didn't I tell you to iron my suit as soon as you got back? What's this? Just because I didn't carry you into the hospital, you're throwing another tantrum. Are you serious? Can't you act like an adult for once? The motion of my left hand blow-drying my hair paused, and I let out a sarcastic laugh. Why didn't I iron his suit? I used to prep his suit every night, neatly ironed and hung, ready for the next day. But the moment he yanked me out of the car earlier, my body still recovering from the shock, I immediately set him to do not disturb in my mind. I blinked and came up with a casual excuse. My hand hurts. I couldn't use my phone to check your messages. Ethan glanced at my bandaged right hand, his dark eyes flickering with a strange emotion. He tossed a tube of ointment onto the table in front of me. For the bleeding. The doctor said this works well. I picked it up and glanced at it, curling my lips in disdain. Unbelievable. Expired ointment. Ethan's dissatisfied voice soon followed in my ears. Vivian's kind-hearted. She's nothing like you, so venomous and petty. She saw that you were hurt and went out of her way to buy this ointment for you. No need. Tell her she can use it herself. I tossed the ointment onto the table, and it slid, landing perfectly in the trash can. Ethan shot up to his feet, glaring at me with fury. Are you out of your damn mind again? Vivian went out of her way to get this for you, and you just throw it in the trash. I know you're angry. Is it because I bought Vivi a new apartment today? But it's my money, I earned it. I can spend it however I like. Don't give me that attitude. I haven't even confronted you yet. His scolding hit me like a storm, leaving my head spinning and my breath short. I'm not mad. Can you just give me a moment to breathe? Stop pretending to be sick. Ethan cut me off impatiently, smacking the back of my head hard. Your problem isn't depression. It's up here. Your brain has issues. Not only is your brain messed up, but you're also downright vicious. Ever since Vivian came back, Ethan had been throwing the word vicious at me whenever he got the chance. He said I was forcing him to become a heartless and unfaithful man. I used to cry and try to explain, telling him I cared about Vivian because I wanted his love and attention. Now, if he wanted to be a man of honor and loyalty, then so be it. Calmly, I said, yes, I'm vicious. Now, can you leave and give me some space? Ethan froze for a moment. Then he turned and stormed out, slamming the bedroom door behind him. I lay on my side, playing soft music to soothe my emotions. But the depression hit again, and tears streamed down uncontrollably. From the living room, I could faintly hear Ethan's voice coaxing Vivian. His laughter was hearty, his tone tender to the core. I was on the verge of falling asleep when the bedroom door creaked open. Ethan slipped into bed, lifting the blanket and wrapping his arm around me from behind. It's Saturday. Time to fulfill our marital obligations. Ever since Vivian's reappearance, I had suspected there was something going on between them. To prove his innocence, Ethan had insisted on setting a fixed schedule. Every Saturday. I pushed his hand away. I'm too tired today. Let's skip this week. Ethan froze mid-motion, then let out a breath of relief. Honestly, I didn't want to do this with you either. If it weren't for my parents liking you so much, do you think I'd even touch you? He got up abruptly and left, slamming the door behind him. I locked the bedroom door, picked up my phone, and scheduled a termination procedure for the day after tomorrow. At the same time, I messaged my lawyer to prepare the divorce papers. Ethan disappeared for 2 days straight. The next time I saw him, it was on Vivian's social media account. 17 years of knowing each other, 8 years of love, and now closer than lovers. The accompanying photo was from a birthday party. Vivian leaned against Ethan, holding an Hermes handbag in her hand. Upon closer inspection, the handbag was identical to the one I had spent months curating purchases to secure. About half a month ago, Ethan had suddenly offered to pick it up from the store for me, but he never followed through. I smirked sarcastically and silently gave the post a like. Within seconds, Ethan called me. "Be downstairs in 30 minutes. I'm taking you to a party. Oh, and this is your reward for behaving well lately." I was about to refuse when Ethan hung up right away. Thinking about the divorce process, I rescheduled the procedure for the next day and took a cab home from the hospital. In the car, Ethan casually brought up celebrating Vivian's birthday. "Don't get upset. I promised her back when we were dating that I'd spend every birthday with her if she wanted me to. Actually, this is my private life. I don't even have to explain it to you." I nodded lightly. I'm not upset. It's your promise, you should keep it." Ethan turned to look at me sharply, his dark eyes once again flashing that strange emotion. When we arrived at the venue, I realized it was a celebration party for Charlie. Aboard a yacht, no less. Strangely enough, Vivian wasn't present tonight. Grace, the beautiful lady of the hour. I couldn't have thrown this party without you. Charlie raised his champagne glass toward me in a toast. It was both flattery and truth. After all, I had once helped connect him with some important contacts, all for Ethan's sake. I poured myself a cup of tea. "Congratulations. I'm not feeling well lately, so I'll toast with tea instead." Charlie's smile remained steady. "I heard you're heading overseas in a few days to take over the international market. Congratulations." I gave a faint smile in response. Just then, Ethan walked over with a glass of wine in hand. His expression darkened as he stood behind me. "You're going abroad? Why didn't you tell me? Did you even ask for my permission?" His voice carried a sharp edge. I had no interest in arguing with him and made an excuse to head to the restroom. Ethan followed me out. "I've explained this to you before," he said in a low, tense voice. "The house situation. It's something I promised her years ago. Don't push me into being ruthless." "But Grace, I haven't treated you poorly either." I didn't respond further and walked straight into the ladies' room. When I returned, Ethan wasn't alone anymore. Vivian was now seated in my place, leaning intimately against him. I glanced at them briefly before heading over to sit next to Charlie. Vivian noticed me and let out an exaggerated, "Oh, sorry about this. I'm just so used to sitting next to Ethan. You don't mind, do you?" I shook my head calmly. "Actually, I should thank you for taking this burden off my hands." Ethan's face darkened instantly. Vivian's fingers dug into her palm, barely holding her smile together. "Ethan's not a burden, Grace. He bought me $1 million house. I didn't have to spend a single cent. But of course I should thank you too for being so generous, letting your husband spend on me like that. How kind of you." Her words drew audible gasps from those around us. Vivian had been Ethan's girlfriend for 8 years. I, on the other hand, was his lawful wife. Everyone present knew the complicated dynamic between us. They also knew exactly how Vivian got that house. Yet no one ever dared to address it directly until now. Charlie sighed, clearly uncomfortable, and quickly stood up to mediate. All right, let's not make this awkward. Grace, how about you go first? Dancing, singing, swimming, pick your game. He pointed toward a large ice bucket nearby and added with a playful warning. Just so you know, the person who does the worst will face a penalty. A sharp pain suddenly shot through my stomach. Just as I was about to choose singing, Vivian interrupted with an eager suggestion. Dancing, of course. We're here to have fun. Don't tell me someone's too shy to let loose. I'm not feeling well, I said, suppressing the pain in my abdomen. I'll sing or sit this round out. You all can go ahead. Ethan frowned, his gaze cold and piercing. What's that supposed to mean? Still throwing a tantrum? I went out of my way to invite you, to give you a chance to join in, and now you're acting like this. Vivian shot a meaningful glance at my stomach before flashing a bright smile. She immediately signaled the DJ to play an upbeat dance track. She danced an energetic routine, then walked over to me, extending a hand to pull me up. I said I'm not feeling well, I repeated, barely containing my frustration. You all can continue. I'll skip this round. Vivian glanced at Ethan, then laughed coquettishly and reached for me again. Annoyed, I pulled my hand back, accidentally shoving her in the process. She stumbled back a few steps, slipping and landing hard on the ground with a loud cry of pain. The entire yacht fell silent. Even the music stopped. Ethan's face was dark as a storm. He strode toward me in a few quick steps, his wine glass shattering against the floor as he threw it down. Grace, what is wrong with you? He demanded, his voice icy. Vivian was the one who danced first, and she even tried to bring you into it as a gesture of goodwill. And were you really so vicious as to push her? Vivian cowered against Ethan, tears streaming down her face as she sobbed quietly. I stared at him coldly, a mocking smile curling my lips. Goodwill? Wasn't she forcing me? I told her I wasn't feeling well. She didn't hear it. What about you? Did you not hear me either? Vivian's sobs grew louder. Ethan tenderly wiped her tears, his gaze chillingly sharp as it turned back to me. Fine, he sneered. You don't want to cooperate? Then you'll take the punishment. With that, he grabbed my arm and yanked me off the sofa, throwing me harshly to the ground. As I hit the floor, a hot sensation surged through me. I struggled to get up, but Ethan pressed his foot down on me with force. Then he grabbed the large ice bucket next to him, nearly a meter tall and half a meter wide, and tipped it over me. The cascade of ice cubes crashed down, cutting into my skin and sending sharp, numbing pain across my body. I trembled, my vision blurring from the cold and the throbbing ache in my stomach. Ethan's foot pressed harder, pinning me beneath him as I tried to move. When the bucket was finally empty, I was left shivering, my entire body drenched and battered. The severe cramping in my abdomen nearly knocked me unconscious. Ethan, however, turned his attention back to Vivian, cradling her tenderly as she cried. There, he murmured. I punished her for you. If she still refuses to apologize, I'll divorce, right? I cut him off, my voice hoarse but resolute. Fine. I agree. Let's divorce. Right here, right now, completely and permanently. Ethan froze, his dark eyes momentarily filled with disbelief. I staggered to my feet, clutching my aching stomach, and began walking toward the exit. All eyes were on me as I left, blood slowly trickling down my legs. The last thing I heard before collapsing was a panicked shout from a staff member. She's bleeding, someone help. Oh my God, that's a lot of blood. Could it be a miscarriage? I didn't know how long I had been asleep, but when I opened my eyes, the sharp smell of disinfectant filled my nose. A nurse, surprised to see me awake, called the doctor into the room. Miss Grace, we recommend you stay in the hospital for 2 more days for observation. Thank you, I croaked, my voice hoarse. Ethan stood by my bedside, looking completely lost and helpless. You were pregnant? Why didn't you tell me? If I had known, I wouldn't have thrown ice water at you. I cut him off coldly. Ethan, does it even matter now? Let's get a divorce. Ethan froze, his eyes instantly turning red. What do you want to eat? I'll have someone make it and bring it over. Chicken soup? Shrimp porridge or? I stared at his regretful face, and a wave of nausea churned in my stomach. Disgusting. Affection that comes too late is worth less than dirt. We've been married for 3 years, and you still don't know I don't like chicken soup or shrimp porridge. I like fish soup. My favorite is century egg and lean pork congee. Ethan, we're simply not right for each other. I let everything out in one breath. Ethan saw the determination in my eyes. He grabbed my hand, his dark eyes filled with desperation. Are you still mad at me for buying Vivi a villa? I'll buy you an even better one, okay? Just don't divorce me. Name anything you want. I shook his hand off in disgust. Didn't you say you married me because I was a clingy doormat, someone obedient enough for you to control? That you were always ready to divorce me any time? Didn't those words come straight from your mouth? Ethan lowered his head, guilt written all over his face. I was drunk. Those were just words I said in anger. It was last year on Ethan's birthday. He had invited his friends along with his ex, Vivian, from 8 years ago. At the time, Ethan's company had hit a roadblock, and there was a key client he couldn't seem to secure. To help him out, I spent days running around calling in favors and drinking with people I normally wouldn't even want to meet, all just to surprise him with good news on his birthday. Meanwhile, since I was late to the celebration, Vivian had wasted no time mocking me. Wow, she's really something. It's your birthday and she's late? How disrespectful. Ethan gave a small shrug. She's always like that, slow and annoying with no sense of time. It's exhausting. Vivian sipped her tea, chuckling behind her cup. How can you say that about your wife? She's a senior executive, isn't she? Managing so many people. If she heard you saying this, wouldn't she be furious? Ethan sneered, full of disdain. I'm just telling the truth. If it weren't for her family's connections, do you think she'd have climbed the corporate ladder so quickly? By 7 p.m. I had finally closed the deal and signed the contract. I rushed to the private room, eager to share the good news with him. The people around us praised my perseverance and skill, marveling at my capabilities. But Ethan poured cold water on everything. All right, it's just a small client. What's the big deal? Look at you, so pleased with yourself. Anyone who didn't know better might think you'd landed a multi-billion-dollar contract. The room fell into awkward silence. Charlie stepped in to smooth things over. I sat down embarrassed. Ethan's face remained cold, and I tried to ease the tension by bringing up something light. Between these two dresses, which one do you think suits me better? Vivian walked over with her wine glass, glanced at my phone screen, and exaggeratedly gasped. Oh my, how outdated. Don't tell me you wear these boring business dresses to work. She giggled, then suddenly covered her mouth as if she had said something inappropriate. No wonder Ethan says he's not attracted to you anymore. Honestly, this is such a turn-off. As she laughed coquettishly, she placed her hand on Ethan's shoulder, her face inches from his. Her big, innocent eyes looked up at him. Ethan didn't push her hand away. Instead, he met my awkward gaze with a cold, disdainful look of his own. No taste. So tacky. I couldn't understand it. How could a professional business outfit suddenly become tacky in their eyes? Later I found out the truth. That day, while everyone was complimenting me, Vivian had pulled Ethan aside. Ethan, you must have married her because she's capable, right? Sigh. After all this time, I still can't do anything. Ethan comforted her, his voice soft. Don't say that. Even if you can't do anything, you're beautiful and charming. You're 1,000 times better than her in my eyes. Vivian's voice trembled as if she were about to cry. Maybe I'll dress up more in the future, just to make you happy. I only learned about their conversation because one of Ethan's friends couldn't stand watching it all unfold and secretly warned me to be careful of Vivian. That night, I confronted Ethan, hysterically demanding to know if he planned to rekindle his relationship with Vivian. But Ethan, far from panicking at being caught, simply looked at me with indifference. Did you even think before asking me that? If I said yes, would you dare divorce me? Ethan's words hit me like a slap in the face. Let me be honest with you, he began, his tone cold and calculated. The only reason I married you was because you loved me enough. You were a backup option, sure, but among my backups, you were the one who worshipped me the most. He sneered, his words cutting like knives. You were like a loyal little puppy, always there when I called. Marrying someone like you was a strategic choice for my career. My mind went completely blank. Ethan, I managed to say, my voice trembling. All these years, have you never loved me, not even once? He scanned me from head to toe, his gaze dripping with disdain. Look at yourself, he said with a smirk. You've stopped making an effort. Always so focused on work, never dressing up or taking care of your appearance. Do you really think any man isn't a visual creature? If I told you I loved you now, would you even believe it? He leaned closer, delivering another blow. If Vivi and I walked down the street together, do you think anyone would believe you're my wife instead of her? He wasn't wrong. Over the past few years, I had neglected myself for the sake of my work. But did he ever stop to ask himself who stayed up with him late into the night, poring over documents after a full day at the office? Did he forget who forged connections and helped him close deals with clients he couldn't win over on his own? I poured my youth, my energy, and my heart into building the empire he now stood at the top of. And yet, here he was dismissing me because I no longer turned heads with my looks. I always thought love was reciprocal, that if I gave enough, he'd eventually see my worth. But in my blind devotion, I failed to see the truth about him. He was and always would be a self-serving man. No matter how much I gave, it would never be enough for someone who only loved himself. For 2 days I stayed in the hospital. Ethan came to visit, but I gave him nothing but cold indifference. When he refused to leave, sitting stubbornly by my side, it was Lily who finally stepped in and kicked him out. Are you really leaving the country for 3 years? Not coming back at all? Lily asked, her tone tinged with melancholy as she looked at me. I nodded, pulling out my phone to show her the offer letter. 3 years abroad to focus on my career. After that, I'll return and see what's next for me. I had it all planned out. Without love to distract me, this was the perfect time to throw myself into my work. Honestly, you should have left him ages ago, Lily said, her voice sharp with disapproval. But better late than never. She had never liked Ethan. Ethan's family was considered wealthy in Ichuan, but mine? My family's resources and influence far outstripped his. As Lily often pointed out, marrying him had been an act of marrying down. Back when we were discussing marriage, Ethan's parents were overjoyed and prepared to offer me a generous dowry, 3 million yuan and a prime apartment. But Ethan? He had other ideas. Behind my back, he convinced his parents to cut the dowry to just 1 million. 1 million is enough, he told them. Her family is rich. She doesn't care about this small change. If we give her too much, she'll just flaunt it to everyone and make me look incompetent. Honestly, if I weren't worried about her getting upset, I wouldn't have offered her a cent. His parents reluctantly agreed to his demands. I only found out about this years later, when he drunkenly let it slip. That night, his assistant had helped him stumble home. With one hand pointing at me, Ethan slurred his words, laughing. You never ask for anything. That's how I know you're head over heels for me, he said, his voice dripping with arrogance. 1 million in dowry, and your family turns around and gifts me a mansion. Talk about a win. I married a wife and turned a profit. I'm a genius. Now that the love was gone, Looking back on those moments filled me with nothing but disgust. "When's your flight?" Lily asked abruptly, pulling me back to the present. "In about 2 weeks," I replied absently. "But I'll head home first and spend some time with my parents." That afternoon, as I was preparing to check out of the hospital, Ethan arrived to pick me up. He handed me a bouquet of roses as I walked out of the ward. "I'll drive you home," he said, smiling as if nothing had happened. I didn't refuse. Free chauffeur, why not? But as I got into the car, my eyes landed on the pink Hello Kitty pillow on the passenger seat. I froze for a moment. Ethan noticed and immediately panicked. "I'll get rid of it tonight, I swear. Don't be mad, okay?" I looked straight ahead, my voice calm. "It's fine. It's cute. Leave it. Besides, if you remove it, how will you explain that to her?" He slammed on the brakes, staring at me in shock. I ignored him, pulling out my phone to book a flight to my parents' home for the next morning. When we arrived at the house, Ethan tried to win me over with a homemade cake. It was heart-shaped and hideous, but it was clear he had put effort into it. "Ta-da!" he declared, holding it out proudly. "You love desserts, so I learned how to bake just for you. Don't judge it by how it looks. It tastes amazing. I used the best cream and the freshest fruits." I stared at the cake, feeling a strange sense of déjà vu. Last year, during New Year's Eve, Charlie had organized a beach barbecue for everyone. I volunteered to prep all the meat, marinating and skewering everything at home before bringing it to the party. That night, everyone raved about my cooking. "Sis-in-law, you've got skills. Wow, Grace, you're both a corporate powerhouse and a kitchen goddess. Talk about perfection. She's setting the bar way too high for the rest of us women." I laughed and clinked glasses with everyone, basking in their compliments. But Ethan? He took one bite of the skewers I'd worked so hard on, then spat it out dramatically. "This is awful," he declared, tossing it aside. "Even a dog wouldn't eat this." I stood there, frozen and at a loss for how to respond. Charlie was the first to comfort me, while Ethan turned around and cheerfully suggested everyone head out for seafood. That evening I confronted Ethan, demanding to know why he acted that way. Ethan's face was full of impatience as he snapped at me. "You always have to steal the spotlight. Have you ever thought about how Vivian feels? You know full well she can't cook, yet you deliberately flaunted your cooking skills in front of her. You really enjoy competing with other women, don't you?" It was about Vivian again. My voice turned cold as I fought back. "So, because she's ordinary, I should dumb myself down just to spare her feelings?" Ethan shot me a sideways glance and said only one thing. "You're truly vicious." I picked up the fork on the table, scooped up a bite of cream, and in the same disdainful tone Ethan had used to insult me before, I spat it out and said, "This is disgusting. Even a dog wouldn't eat it if you gave it to one." Ethan froze for a moment, the hurt visible on his face. I ignored him, finished washing up, and went straight to the guest bedroom. The next morning after Ethan left for work, I packed my bags, left a divorce agreement on the table, and called a taxi to the airport. 3.5 hours later I landed. A notification popped up on my phone, dozens of missed calls, most of them from Ethan. "Where are you? Your company said you didn't show up today. Tell me, where did you go?" Sitting in the back of a cab, I finally responded to him at my own leisurely pace. "The divorce papers are on the table. Sign them." He called me back immediately. I didn't answer. I blocked him instead. 2 days later, the security guard from my villa complex contacted me. "Miss Grace, you were right. A man named Ethan is at the gate making a scene. He says he's your husband and insists on coming in to find you." Calmly watering my plants, I replied nonchalantly, "Keep him out. Don't let him in." Ethan stood by the security gate for 3 whole days. On the 3rd day, he finally collapsed from exhaustion. To my surprise, even after being rushed to the hospital for an IV, He returned to the gate to continue his vigil. Gracie, I was wrong. Please forgive me. I've already cut ties with Vivian. Come home. Let's try again. I'm begging you. Punish me however you want, just don't divorce me. Ethan sent me 3 voice messages in a row, his tone humble and pleading. I didn't reply. On the 5th night, a sudden downpour began. The security guard sent me a video. Miss Grace, there's another woman here. She seems very close to him. Lying in bed sipping ginger tea, I leisurely opened the video. In the clip, Vivian walked over to Ethan with an umbrella, shielding him from the rain. Ethan shoved her away harshly. Get lost. If Gracie sees this, she'll be upset. Vivian fell to the ground, a flash of malice crossing her eyes. She got back up, grabbed Ethan's clothes and shouted, just divorce her already. She's not right for you. Get the hell out of here. Ethan's eyes were bloodshot as he pushed her away again. If it weren't for you, do you think she would have left me? Ethan's push sent Vivian sprawling, her knee scraping against the ground until it bled. Unwilling to give up, she got back up again. I don't know what she said, but suddenly the 2 of them started fighting. Ethan pinned her to the ground, throwing punches, while Vivian's cries filled the air like the sky was falling. Finally, unable to watch any longer, the security guard called the police. The next morning when I woke up, the security guard informed me, Miss Grace, they were both taken to the police station last night. They haven't returned since. I contacted my lawyer and asked him to proceed with the divorce filing. I thought this chapter of my life was finally over. A week later, as I was preparing to leave the country, Lily called me. Want the latest juicy gossip? It's a big one. I paused my packing for a moment. What gossip? Vivian's ex-husband showed up. Ex-husband? I frowned deeply. Wasn't Vivian single and never married? Lily scoffed over the phone. That's what we all thought, right? Single and never married. Turns out she's divorced. Her ex-husband's name is Victor. Lily went on to explain the situation. Apparently, years ago, Vivian had broken up with Ethan because she thought Victor was wealthier. She married him and lived as a rich wife for 3 years. But Vivian's extravagant lifestyle quickly made her enemies. Someone set her up and she ended up getting addicted to gambling. In just 6 months, she lost millions. When Victor found out, he beat her so badly she landed in the ER. But even after being discharged from the hospital, Vivian didn't change her ways. She became even more reckless with her gambling. Victor couldn't take it anymore and filed for divorce. What was disgusting, though, was this. After taking millions in divorce settlements, Vivian not only showed no gratitude, but also went around tarnishing Victor's reputation. She accused him of domestic violence and claimed he was having affairs. The rumors eventually reached Victor's ears. Victor, known for his explosive temper, stormed over to confront Vivian. This time, he not only hit Vivian but also gave Ethan a brutal beating when he tried to intervene. You have no idea. Victor is as strong as his name suggests, absolutely relentless. Those muscles, that power. A few punches from him, and Ethan didn't stand a chance. I spaced out for a few seconds before asking, and Victor? Did he end up in jail? Lily snorted. Victor has powerful connections. Vivian is such an idiot. She can't even cling to a rich man properly. Ethan probably knows Victor's influence too. He wouldn't dare report him. His business dealings are nowhere near strong enough to take Victor on. I chuckled as I pieced it together. So Vivian's probably throwing a fit now, forcing Ethan to call the police, while Ethan's too scared to do it. Bingo! You got it! Lily laughed loudly over the phone. I shook my head silently. Sometimes it really takes a bigger villain to deal with a smaller one. 2 days later, I was at the airport waiting for my flight when my phone buzzed with a new message. It was from Vivian. She'd sent a picture, a wedding ring and a positive pregnancy test. Running away abroad, are you? Look at me. I've got a husband, a baby on the way. In the end, I'm the one who gets the last laugh. You? Divorced, lost your baby, and got nothing in the end. You're worse than a stray dog, so pitiful. I smiled faintly and replied, do me a favor, have him sign the divorce papers quickly. Otherwise, when the baby's born, he'll still legally be someone else's husband, and you'll still be nothing more than a mistress without a title. The moment I sent that message, my phone started vibrating incessantly. Vivian had exploded, spewing insults like venom. You bitch. You think you're so special just because you were born into a good family with good parents? Without them, you'd be nothing. I stole your man, your house. Doesn't that make you furious? I replied slowly, deliberately. Unlike you, I don't turn a winning hand into a losing one. I may not play perfectly, but at least I don't ruin it. Then I muted her messages. Half a year later, my lawyer called with unexpected news. There was finally a breakthrough in my divorce case. The moment I landed back in Ichuan, Lily greeted me with a bombshell of an update. Gracie, big news, those two? They're paralyzed. Both of them. Talk about karma. It's divine punishment. Lily pulled up a news article from a local outlet and showed it to me. It turned out that in the 6 months since I'd left, Vivian had developed a gambling addiction. She'd lost 30 million yuan of Ethan's money at the tables. That alone wasn't the real problem. Without me around to manage critical matters and pull strings, Ethan's business had been in a steady decline. He was forced to swallow his pride and beg for deals wherever he could. But the social circles in this city are small. Everyone knew about Vivian's gambling habit. No one wanted to work with Ethan anymore, and his company was on the brink of collapse. Things came to a head when debt collectors started showing up at his door. That was when Ethan learned that Vivian had used their property deeds to secure illegal loans for gambling. He was driving when the call came. Gripping the steering wheel tightly, he turned to Vivian in the passenger seat and hissed, "You've been gambling again, haven't you?" Vivian shook her head frantically, terrified. No, I haven't. Debt collectors are at our door." Ethan growled, his hand tightening around her throat with each word. Baby, don't hit me. I'm pregnant. Your baby." Vivian stammered, trying to summon his paternal instincts. Just as Ethan started to calm down, another call came in from a different debt collector. "Mr. Jiang, Ms. Sure has an unpaid 3 million yuan loan. When will you settle it?" And attached to the message were explicit photos of Vivian. "You took out a nude loan? Are you insane?" Ethan snapped. Right there in the car, he began beating Vivian. But Vivian wasn't one to go down without a fight. She screamed back, "I'm carrying your child. Is it so wrong to spend some of your money? Stingy bastard. No wonder Grace divorced you. She shouldn't have mentioned me." The moment she did, Ethan's rage boiled over again. His hand flew to her neck, veins bulging in his temples. "It's all your fault. If it weren't for you, I'd still have a good wife. She was pregnant too. You were the one who egged me on to dump that ice bucket on her." Ethan grabbed her hair and slammed her head against the car window. "Ha! Without me, you two wouldn't have lasted anyway." Vivian spat through her struggle. In the chaos, Vivian scrambled over to the driver's seat. Somehow, she stepped on the accelerator. The parked car jerked forward, straight into the path of an oncoming truck. The truck couldn't stop in time. It collided with their car, crushing both their legs. They were paralyzed on the spot. I finished reading the news and shook my head. For now, I only cared about one thing. "Can I finalize the divorce now?" My lawyer nodded. "Absolutely. It's a sure thing." 2 weeks later, I held the divorce decree in my hands. Outside the courthouse, Lily was waiting for me. "Congratulations," she said with a grin. "Here's to your new beginning." I smiled, stepping forward to hug her. "Yes, Today marked the start of my new life.